Chargers. How are you? Instead of putting the menu in this little spot, because we're not doing any service, decided maybe I'd put something on that might be a little bit topical for us. As we are heading into spring and summer, people are always looking for a little bit something fresh to eat, is what they call it, but what they mean is something cold. And generally, we want something like a salad. Now, a salad is made of three parts: a base, a garnish, and a sauce. It really doesn't matter what kind of salad you're talking about. We could be talking about a green salad with romaine, which is our base, then tomatoes and red onions, which would be our garnish, and croutons, cucumbers, broccoli, beans, carrots, cabbage, blah, 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 whatever you want to put in it. Also, you've heard of tuna salad. The base is tuna, the garnish is onions and celery, and the sauce is mayonnaise, maybe with a little bit of lemon juice in it. But we're talking about a base, a garnish, and a sauce. And today, we're going to talk about the sauce in particular. And there are two types: a vinaigrette and a creamy. Now, you can go to the store and you can buy little bottles of these things. You can go on the internet and find specific recipes for ranch dressing or blue cheese dressing or an herb vinaigrette or honey mustard, anything like that. But that recipe is specific. What I want to give you today is the very base dressing so that you can make out of it what you want to make out of it. The first thing we're going to talk about is the vinaigrette. Now, the vinaigrette, obviously, like its name says, you need a vinegar and you need an oil. The basic ratio for your basic vinaigrette is 3 parts oil to 1 part vinegar. Now, if you have a really nice vinegar, say you have a sherry vinegar or a balsamic vinegar and you want to highlight the vinegar, use a little bit less oil. You have a really nice oil, an olive oil or an avocado oil or a walnut oil or something, and you want to highlight the oil, use a little bit less vinegar. But 3 to 1 is your sweet spot, okay? And it really is very simple. You measure it out, 1 part vinegar to 3 parts oil, put it in a bowl, stir it up. And when you stir it up, it's going to come together and emulsify. But if you've ever done this before, you know the oil and the vinegar aren't going to stay together. This is a temporary emulsion. Water and oil don't mix. That's okay for now. We're going to get to emulsions in a second. So you stir it up and you have your basic vinaigrette. You can put a little bit of sugar in it if you want it a little sweeter. I'm going to put a little bit of cracked black pepper and a little bit of salt. And there I have my simple dressing. I don't particularly want this. I want a little bit more flavor. So I've chopped up some fresh herbs. Here I have some basil and some rosemary and some parsley and some thyme and a little bit of garlic. And I'm going to put that in there and whisk it up. And I have a very simple herb vinaigrette. Let this sit for a couple hours so those herbs can bloom, and you've got a nice, easy salad dressing that tastes fresh on your vegetables. Okay? The other thing is a more permanent emulsion, and that is going to be our creamy dressing. Now, with our vinaigrette, we talked in terms of 4. 3 parts oil, 1 part vinegar. Again, we're going to talk in terms of 4. We're going to use 1.5 parts mayonnaise, and 1.5 parts sour cream. So that's 3 for our mathletes out there. 1.5 is 3. And then we're going to add 1 part buttermilk. Now, again, you don't have to use mayonnaise, sour cream, buttermilk. You can use yogurt. You can use regular milk. You could use heavy cream. You can use non-fat yogurt. You don't have to use Heinz mayonnaise, but you should. And the seasonings are up to you. How about a grilled shrimp salad, right? A little bit of onion, a little bit of celery, like that tuna salad we talked about. But put a little bit of Old Bay seasoning in here, maybe a squeeze of lemon, maybe some malt vinegar, right? Might make it a nice little sandwich. You could put these things together with some blue cheese and a little splash of red wine vinegar. Of course, a little bit of pepper. And a little bit of salt for all of them. Mix it up as you did with that, the vinaigrette in a bowl with a whisk. Or you can use one of these, which is called a stick blender. We're going to use this on two different things here. Now I'm going to make a cilantro lime scallion dressing because on Friday, my wife doesn't know this yet, and she's the one who's filming. Tracy, say hi.
Hi.
That's my wife. She doesn't know this yet, but I'm going to use a deep fryer and I'm going to make a thing I saw on TV the other day called armadillo eggs. And they're stuffed jalapenos with braised beef that are wrapped up with a little bit of cheese and then breaded and deep fried. And I can't wait to try them because they sound delicious to me.
Me too.
I'm going to get some lime juice in there. Now they sell tools that are called a reamer that you can use for putting inside your citrus and squeezing out all the juice. Or you can repurpose what you already have, which is a fork, and put that thing to work and let it do that. Let it do the work for you. I'm not getting a lot of juice out of these limes, which is disappointing. But I'm going to keep going. Stick with it. I'm not a quitter. I hope all of you are doing well. I know this is frustrating for us. As educators, one of the things we want to do the most is be with our students. And that's not really working out for us this year. But it'll come back, and we'll all be okay. We'll all be okay. Excuse me, pup. I just found out I have a cut on my finger because the lime juice alerted me to it.
Surprise.
Fantastic.
Say hi, Abner.
So, the stick blender. You probably have a blender at home. Maybe you've seen these. They're becoming more and more popular. They're everywhere. They're all on the TV shows. Anywhere that you can find cooking equipment, Target, Walmart, Bed Bath & Beyond, Amazon. Anywhere you can find cooking equipment, you can find one of these. They're, I don't know, 25, 30 bucks. I love them for making salad dressings. They just, if you see the blade there, let me push the button. The blade spins. Like your blender for your your smoothies, the blade is at the bottom and you have a container at the top. Here we have the container on the bottom and the blade goes in. Put it in there, turn it on, and it's going to puree all that together. Now while this is going on, I hope you can hear me. If you want your dressing, sorry, didn't mean to be screaming. If you want your dressing a little bit thicker, don't use so much milk. If you want your dressing a little bit thinner, so use more milk. There are no real rules, right? But your basic thing is 1.5 sour cream, 1.5 mayonnaise, 1 buttermilk. We're going to let that go for a second. And there, I have it. There's my cilantro lime dressing. Give me a second so I don't drip this on the floor. The dog is hoping I will.
It smells delicious.
I'm going to use this tool again here in just a second. Earlier I had mentioned emulsion. A temporary emulsion, like our herb vinaigrette. And as you can see, it's already starting to separate. The oil and the vinegar are starting to separate. Okay? The permanent emulsion, which is our creamy dressing, isn't going to separate at all. Permanent. I'm going to turn this into a permanent emulsion in just a second. But before I move on to that, I want to talk to you about tasting your dressings. A lot of people, my students, go in with a spoon and taste what their dressing is. And the chef, it's really, really strong. Yeah, it is. Because you don't eat salad dressing on a spoon, do you? You don't eat it on a fork. You eat it on a piece of lettuce, mostly. And lettuce is mostly water. So your dressing needs to be fairly intense flavor-wise if it's going to taste right on salad or on a green. So take a piece of green, rather than your spoon, dip it into your dressing, and then taste it. And that actually isn't too bad as it is. I kind of like it. I'll taste it again tomorrow after the herbs have had a chance to bloom and see where it's at and adjust the seasonings tomorrow. Creamy salad dressing. Now, in between our permanent emulsion and our temporary emulsion, there's a way to make an emulsified vinaigrette. And what you need is some sort of emulsifying agent. To make an emulsion, you need three things: acid, protein, fat. Okay? I could use an egg yolk in here. I'd be adding fat, but that's the protein. That's going to help hold it together. It might make this a permanent emulsion. Acid is the vinegar, fat is the oil. I'm going to use a different emulsifying agent, which means this isn't going to be that permanent. But it will hold together for quite a while, at least a week or so before it starts to separate. And I'm going to make a honey mustard vinaigrette. I'm going to put some honey in. And I really wish I had thought this through and maybe warmed up the honey so it wasn't so slow coming out. But that's what live production is all about. We're all learning things. Oof. All right, well, you get the idea. A little bit of Dijon mustard. This is something my wife likes. Mm-hmm. Doesn't take much. I could put anything else in there I wanted. I could put shallots, I could put herbs, whatever. And you watch, this will come together. Emulsified vinaigrette. So, we've got three kinds of dressing. We have a vinaigrette. We have an emulsified vinaigrette. Here, let me show you this. The vinaigrette, okay, emulsified temporarily. An emulsified honey mustard vinaigrette, and then a permanently emulsified creamy dressing. Your basic ratio for your vinaigrette: 3 parts fat, 1 part vinegar. Basic ratio for your creamy dressing: 1.5 part sour cream, 1.5 part mayonnaise, 1 part buttermilk. Now, go out, be creative with whatever you can find on the grocery shelves, and enjoy yourself this summer. You've earned it. See ya.